Hi and welcome to the full moon in Gemini. This is the last full moon in this year and it is shortly before Christmas. And shortly after this full moon will be the beginning of the Venus retrograde that will continue during Christmas. And so it will be a very interesting time, especially for our personal relationships. And this is actually also visible in my cards with Grandmother Spider, with Future, with Twin Flames, with Stuck. And I actually pulled an extra card because I wanted to get an idea of what the cards really wanted to tell me, because I wasn't sure. I felt that, okay, the message is about certain very deep relationships that we have, certain soul contracts that we have with people where we feel stuck, where we feel we always experience the same no matter what we do. It seems like a cul-de-sac. It seems like we always end in the same trap. It's a vicious circle. I don't know how to change that. I feel very helpless in that, and I feel that all my strategies don't work. And the extra card is all in everything, and all in everything is our connection to the divine. And the advice from the cards is, I think there is a saying from Albert Einstein, you cannot solve the problem on the level it had been created. And I would say this is part of this advice from the cards. You have to go a level higher. You have to go onto the soul level. And what we discussed during the total solar eclipse is also a theme in this reading, that you don't find your solution separated from others. You are part of the whole of life and whole of the sacredness of life. And in letting go that just you are wounded and just you are in this position, and if you really come on the soul level where you are not wounded, where you are whole and where you are sacred, and out of this sacredness you will find the solution that will help you to get out of this trap. I mean, the total solar eclipse was in a square to Neptune, and also now this full moon is in a square to Neptune. So that means we cannot solve these problems with our mind. We cannot solve these problems through the ideas we used to have. We cannot solve this problem through manipulation. We cannot solve this problem through our intellect, talking with others. We have to let go. And with the square to Neptune, we are confused. In our mind, we don't see a solution. We will see that in the astrology. There is a tendency to run away into excessive behavior, to run away into alcohol, to run away into drugs, to run away into any form of excess, because deep down we feel very insecure. And with this Venus retrograde that is starting shortly after this full moon, and this Venus retrograde is conjunct Pluto, so this is quite intense. And it means that something really needs to change in our relationships. We cannot continue like we used to do. I mean, with Jupiter is in a trine to this full moon, so we might enjoy the company of others. We might feel happy in the company of others, but with this square to Neptune, there is a danger of overdoing it, pushing an agenda that is not true, and ending in the trap that is in the cards, ending in the same wounding that you always experience. And you feel like no matter what I do, I always end up in the same trap. And this Venus retrograde that starts shortly after this full moon, so I would say it is highly connected to this full moon energy, is saying there needs to be a change, and there needs to be a redefinition of how I want to relate. There needs to be a transformation in the way we relate. And I would say with Venus, it is about our values. It is about the way we want to invest our money, because it might be that actually with this Christmas we are over excessive also in the way we spend money. But the awakening will be hard, and the awakening will be hard in our relationships, and the awakening will be hard in the area of our finances. So we better be aware that we don't sacrifice our values for illusions where we think, oh, now we want to celebrate, or now we want to really be joyful, but in the end it is not true joy, but we are just trying to run away from a certain truth. And that this truth says, first and foremost, you should connect to the divine, and first and foremost, you should connect or feel connected to all that is, and not so much separate. I mean, this Venus retrograde with Pluto is also in a quincunx to the moon. So we might first not realize how we try to manipulate certain outcomes. We don't realize how we try to manipulate certain relationships into the way we want them to be, instead of the way they actually are. And in some cases there might be a very tough awakening. I would say, don't have too high expectations for the holidays. Don't have too high expectations of others. Try to ground yourself in your connection to you and to the divine. And in this connection and in this inner stillness and in this inner awareness, you are more abundant, and in this abundance you are able to truly see what has value to you and what has not. But if you try to drown in certain excesses and drown in certain experiences, you will find yourself on a harsh ground. And I mean, a Gemini full moon seems quite chattery and seems quite light, but be aware, as I said, there might be a harsh awakening. So it is a time of a Venus retrograde. It is a time to relate first and foremost to yourself and what your true values are, and then out of that relating to others. So I would say it is more a time for reflection. It is more a time to be honest with yourself. Venus Pluto wants honesty. Venus Pluto is about pulling all the masks off and saying it is time to end all these lies and end all these betrayals that are underneath, because there is a danger to betray first and foremost yourself. And because you betray yourself, you also betray others, and you might find yourself betrayed. So try to connect to the truth, and it is a time to connect to truth. But you can only connect to truth if you don't expect too much from others, and if you connect to your inner sacred garden, to your inner abundance, to this all in everything, to this connection that is always there. And out of this area in you comes the solution. Out of this area in you comes the peace and comes the love you wish for. If you try to manipulate the outcome, then you will end up in the same, and you might think that this Christmas will be different, but I would say if you try to manipulate the outcome, then you will find yourself in the same rut that you have known for many, many years. It is a very social full moon. It is very different to the years before, but we better connect to the truth. I mean, also Yule, the winter solstice, falls into this time. The winter solstice, this changing cardinal points, define the next 3 months. So I would say this reflection on our relationships will be for the next 3 months, or will be in focus for the next 3 months. I would say we are tempted to run away into excessive behavior, into excessive parties. But in the end, this time is about reflecting on what has value for us and what relationships have value for us and what relationships maybe have to go, where it is time to say goodbye. Out of our inner abundance we will know, out of our inner peace we will know, and out of our inner abundance we will be the sovereign to decide what is really best for us and for all, and that this is in alignment. But we can only act in this alignment when we are at peace. So first and foremost, I wish you peace and abundance of the heart, because in your heart you find the abundance you need, and this full moon is an invitation to be in this connection with all that is. So I wish you a great and wonderful full moon. Till next year, namaste.